Hi, everyone, and welcome to Over 40 Living Epic Lives Facebook group. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We really appreciate you. And we have an awesome speaker we're going to bring out for you here today. And before we do, I'm going to share my screen and give you a little intro. All right, so as I said, welcome to Over 40 Living Epic Lives. And today we have an amazing speaker with us, and her name is Debra Lee May. All right, so some of you may have seen I have a series this summer. It's called Fresh Start Summer Series with Cheryl and Friends. So these are different people that I'm in a marketing group with. They're all experts of different backgrounds, and they've all been featured in media and TV, and they have so many exciting things to share with you guys, and I can't wait for you to meet each and every one of them. They're going to be going all throughout this summer. So some of you are new to me and new to this group. My name is Cheryl, and I'm an author, speaker, mindset coach, and aerialist, and I am 53 years young. I have been a producer and host of a mind and body fitness TV show, founder of a 7-time award-winning boot camp, and founder of a wellness company. Throughout my life, I have endured everything from mental and physical abuse to being diagnosed with advanced arthritis, losing my career and long-term boyfriend, and more. Starting over in my 50s was one of the most unexpected challenges I've ever endured. And ironically, it's proven to be the best thing to ever happen to me. I specialize in helping women and entrepreneurs over 40 discover where their blocks are, how to rewrite their story, and create the life of their dreams. The methodologies I teach are the very techniques I use to transform my life from feeling like my best years were over to finding my light, writing a book, starting 2 new businesses, and attracting the man of my dreams, and much more. Now, why am I telling you all of this? It's because I want you to remember that it's never too late to have your epic encore. Now, make sure you stay tuned to the end. We have a special announcement for you. So today we have Debra Lee May. She is a resiliency and reinvention mentor. So she's going to help us create a fresh new start. Today she's going to be going over strengthening your voice and reclaiming who you are for a fresh start, honoring and reframing your experiences so you can reimagine what's possible, and how you can become more resilient. So if you will, let us know if you're watching live or on replay. And also let us know, can you hear us? Can you hear me right now? And throughout this talk, please give us a takeaway, something you're enjoying, something that's really resonating with you. It really lets us know that we're on the right track and we're providing great value to you. All right, so let's go ahead and bring out our guest. Debra, come on out.
Hi, Cheryl. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you here. And okay, so here we are, COVID, and like in California, we're just now getting permission to take off the masks. So things are starting to get back to a little bit of normalcy. And so many of us, over the past year and a half, we've changed careers. Some of us have lost careers. Some people are getting married, getting divorced. Some are going back to school. Some are creating a new side hustle. And with all that comes a lot of different challenges. And one of the main reasons I was so excited to have you in this group is because you have such a great story of resilience and how you yourself went through something major and started over. And I think you're going to inspire a lot of people today. So can you just go ahead and take it away? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. I love sharing my story because, had somebody told me 15 years ago that I would feel this good or have this energy or be so excited about my future, closer to my husband, more aligned, whatever, today, I would have never believed them. And I went through a very hard time. Like a lot of women, it was really hard for me to leave my my job, my career. I feel like it was the career I spent my entire life building. Um, and if I may, I start in my childhood. My parents went through this horribly messy divorce. My mom was very distraught. And so what happened is, even though I was the youngest, I couldn't, I just, it upset me too much to see her upset. And I kind of took over. I helped at the house, the laundry, everything. And so I became very in control. But what I learned as a child, because my mother was financially unstable through the divorce, how important it was for women to become financially secure and financially independent. And from a young age, I mean, I built my dream around being a career woman. It was a different time back then. So we were wearing suits and heels, and that's everything I ever wanted. So when I got out of college and I got into my first corporate career, I like to say I was already responsible. I was very outspoken. I was very independent. So I did really well. I climbed the corporate ladder really quickly. And I realized at one point that I had reached my dreams. And then I got married and had children. And my husband quit his job and started his own business. And suddenly I felt some of that same chaos from that busyness. And my husband's business was in our basement, and his employees were coming over. Just that same craziness, that chaos I felt as a child. So I decided that it was time for me to come home and raise my children, raise my family, take care of them. And I had a really hard transition doing that. I right away I felt I just started feeling different about myself. It's like it was the identity I spent my entire life creating, right? So, now that I'm a stay-at-home mom, I lost that identity, wasn't so clear anymore. And plus, I spent my childhood taking care of everything in our home. So I really had no idea about taking care of kids. I didn't know about schedules or boundaries or anything. I just knew how to love them. And by the way, that works. And so I knew exactly what I wanted for my kids. So that part worked. What didn't work is it's almost hard for me to think of how the emotions I went through in that time period. It's like everything in my life shifted. I wasn't feeling good about myself anymore, so my relationships started changing. I had always been so social and outgoing, and suddenly I wasn't feeling good. So my old friends started slipping away, and I wasn't involved in the office politics or day to day, and I wasn't. So those friends and connections started slipping away. And the thing is you get more and more uncomfortable with yourself. Even your closest, most intimate relationships start changing and shifting. And so I always felt like it was just a downward spiral. Um, and then what I like to call was the perfect storm. Both of my parents came down with serious illnesses. My dad passed away. My nanny got sick. So it was just a series of things that made me just uh, feel very, very differently from how I was in control, responsible, well put together. It was just such a different time for me. And my life just spiraled out of control, and I kind of went within. I withdrew from my life. I was embarrassed. Honestly, that was the bottom line of it. I was embarrassed that I had had such a great career and I had made it to this place that I've always dreamed of becoming. And then I came home to the people who were most important to me, but I felt like such a failure. And so I was so embarrassed. And here's the thing is that I didn't think at that time that there would be another woman alive who would understand how I felt. So from there, I withdrew more. I started being embarrassed to leave the house. And I focused all of my energy on my children. And, they turned out great. But I went through some really hard years. And I like to say, I went from top of the hill to rock bottom. And there was no other way to put it. I was at rock bottom. I didn't want to leave the house. And so one day, it was just that I woke up and I was thinking, if I don't do something about this right now, if I don't figure this out in 10 years, I might feel exactly the same way, or it could be worse. And at the same time, my kids were getting older. As they were going into high school and college, they started pushing me away. They didn't want me or need me as much. And I felt that, that void was happening in my life. So I really had to start figuring it out. And I always, even in the worst times, I always feel like it's really important to mention that in the worst times, there's two things. You can still do things well because my kids turned out great. And on the other point is that I always had this voice deep inside me telling me that, I'm still in here. You can still figure it out. So I always had this deep belief that somehow, some way, I would get back to me. And there was it. I was always looking how to get back to that person I was. How do I become that confident, social, outgoing person with a great career again? And as I started searching, and I searched online and I found books and coaches and courses, I started feeling a little different. And I started realizing it was like, an eye-opening point in my life when I realized I couldn't go back there, that person was gone. And so now the only thing I could do is take all of those experiences, the highs, the lows, the pains, the memories, whatever it was, and realize that they built my strength. That was where, from all of those experiences, is where who I was becoming, my next level me. And when I started feeling a shift from all of that and a redirection of where I was going, my momentum just started. I started devouring books and, learning different ways and different mindsets and taking courses. And the more I shifted, what I didn't see and I didn't understand what was happening is that I was shifting my energy. I was coming more into who I was at that period of time. And everything around me started changing. I mentioned earlier how embarrassed I was by it. So I was embarrassed by courses I was taking. I was embarrassed by the books I was reading. So I hid it from everyone. So nobody knew I was doing this. And so what's so crazy to me is that everything changed around me. And so it was almost proof or evidence, if you will, that when you start feeling different about yourself, when you start seeing your life differently, when you start focusing on different things, your energy shifts and changes. And that automatically shifts and change what you magnetize into your life, who you connect with, how people treat you. And it was such an amazing transformation. I ended up just falling, face first into self-development. That's all I did for years and years and years. And it comes down to me is trusting that you're on the right path, trusting that, what you feel inside is real. Had I not had that voice telling me that you will find a way, you will figure it out, I don't know if I would have had the drive to keep on going. And then the awareness of the situations that you went through and, how you were showing up and how you were reacting. And so I had to shift the way I saw everything. And so I started a program of journaling. And I'm just going to tell you that between journaling and forgiveness, it completely changed the trajectory of my life, how I felt about my life, my relationships, what I had going forward.
Can you pause right there? Gosh,
Yeah.
what you've been saying thus far is just gold, gold. And people in the comments are saying, yes, that voice is very important. Jay says hello. David is here. Judson is here. Lori is here. And Kim is here. They all say hello and they're loving what you're saying so far. And for those of you who are on the live with us, let us know a takeaway, something that has resonated with you from what Debbie has said so far. In life, sometimes it's hard to find that voice. It's hard to find that positive, we got the, person over here is going, it's impossible. And then we've got the other voice saying, what, it is possible. So if you will, tell us how so you started gathering information. And by the way, forgiveness and journaling, you're preaching to the choir. Like, that is right up my alley. And I talk about it in my book. Forgiveness changes lives. And many of us walk around repeating our same old story of why things can't be done. And if only we could just learn to forgive, it dissolves everything. So, okay, now, if you can tell us, what are some of the first steps that our viewers can start taking if they're finding that they're feeling a little stuck right now, they're not sure what to do. Maybe they're starting over completely. Maybe they're starting a new side hustle, and all the things that I mentioned earlier. And by the way, we have many entrepreneurs in this group. So I know they're going to love that. And entrepreneurs are constantly trying new things. We're constantly going, well, maybe I'll try that and that.
I
Okay.
love that question, Cheryl, because the first thing I did, and what I didn't realize what I was doing was that journaling. It was that deep dive journaling. And however you're journaling, whether it's, pen to paper or on your computer, what it's actually doing is it's helping you to hear your voice inside. It's reconnecting you with you. And when we're going through difficult points in our lives, like I was embarrassed, I didn't want to talk or see anyone. And at the same time, versus listening to my intuition, I was taking advice from everyone. I was looking for ways for people to tell me what to do, or minimizing myself and appeasing others to get things done. And as soon as you start connecting back to that voice in your head, the shifts happen so quickly, because for a long time, I was looking outward. And when you start looking inward, and journaling to me is the best way to do that. It's whether you're downloading, the best idea you've had, or you're releasing a painful memory, or you're even just downloading voices in your head that's saying, oh, I got to clean the carpet here. You're still listening to yourself, and you're reconnecting with that voice, and you're becoming more real, and you're becoming more authentic by understanding who you are and where you're going. And authenticity and realness, that's your most powerful point. That's where you connect best. Your boundaries are set up just so naturally. It's like this powerful flow from the universe, where you start seeing that the things that happened to you really happened for you. Because it's that awareness you get from downloading your thoughts. I like to share a point that I know a lot of people understand, is that when I was home and I was in a bad way, and I started blaming everyone for everything in my life, and you start remembering things that people said and did, and I had this intense anger and resentment and bitterness, and it created all those limiting beliefs. And when you start downloading some of those onto writing, no matter how you do it, it's a release. And you can start reading back your stories and seeing them differently. You get different ideas, you get different perspectives. When I journal, and if I read it back, suddenly I see things I didn't see before. I get new ideas from that. I realize that happened because, or for me to get to this point, and the most clear picture I can paint is the time I was home with my kids. I love my kids. I would do anything for them. It goes without saying. But it was such a difficult time in my life. I can't imagine that I had actually lived through it. And now, looking past that and back, it was by far the most priceless experience of my life, that I was able to spend that time with my kids. So somewhere, the universe had that flow, that path for me, that I was supposed to be with my kids. And now they've moved on, they don't live with me anymore. And I'm able to go on to my own, my own life, into my next phase, which at this point, it's the best time of my life. Absolutely the best time of my life.
Can we pause right there for a second? Everyone is giving us such great feedback. Jay says this conversation is a confirmation and is very inspiring. So yes, so those of you who are listening and watching, please let us know where you're coming in from. We have viewers all over the US. And also let us know a takeaway, something that Debbie is saying that's really resonating with you. Now, I will also make acknowledgement that this group is called Over 40 Living Epic Lives. And the majority of these people are probably in their 50s. Now, we weren't taught journaling. My age group, I'm 53, we were not taught to journal. It's very foreign. And if I were to tell my mom that she should journal, she's in her, late 70s, she'd be like, what? So it's not a normal thing for us to connect our feelings to pen and paper. And many of us get so busy that we make it the last thing that we do. And I know how crucial it is. And you are bringing it up, how crucial it is. So what's one thing that we can do to start journaling? So can you tell us, like, what types of journals should we look for? Like, you and I both know it's easy, but I want you to spell it out for them.
Well, I think, and I love this question because I think a lot of people have a difficult time starting to journal. And I will not tell a lie. Sometimes I have to force myself in the morning because, I'm human. It's that resistance. So what I start to do is I start to journal what I'm grateful for. It's the easiest way to get started. Once you start listing things, I'm grateful for my family. You can start very easy. I'm grateful for my home or my business or whatever it is. But it's that positive vibes that are coming out from you. And whatever you're talking about, whatever you release, you open space within your life. So if you're putting out all this positive gratitude, you open space for these positive ideas to come back in. And when you start with gratitude, I feel it's very easy. We all have things we're grateful for. And the more we're grateful, the more we see other things in our lives. We see the simple things we take for granted, fresh water, unlimited water, whatever it is. And the more we're grateful for, the more we see and the more comes back into our life. It's a really simple way to start journaling. And it just gets you writing. And anytime you're writing about anything, your mind is opening up. It's taking in thoughts and then you're suddenly writing other things. It's just like a natural flow. And it doesn't take long to get started.
I'm loving it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think you find when you start releasing the things in your head, and if you start, I'm going to the second point here, but if you start with gratitude and then, something that triggered a negative emotion comes up. And if you write that out, often you see different reasons for that happening. And what I like to say is some of these memories, some of these negative memories or energies or vibrations, whatever you want to call them, weren't bad or good. It was just a thought. Mm-hmm. And so you can look at it more as feedback. Mm-hmm. What's coming in your head, what's triggering that anger is feedback, redirecting you to something else.
Yeah.
Because, thoughts are neither positive or negative. It just is. Mm-hmm. And so if you start just really internalizing what you're writing and the feeling you're getting at from feedback, if this doesn't feel good, well, I must redirect myself. And it all works in flow. You start listening to your voice, you start understanding your intuition, you start letting more out, whether it's just gratitude or stories. You open space in your life, new thoughts, new ideas, possibilities, opportunities all come in.
Yes,
and
yes.
It's just such a perfect universal flow.
I love it. I just want to read off some of the people and this is golden. Thank you. Everything you're saying is like, preach. Okay, so Kim is here from Toronto, Ontario. Jay is here from the greater Chicago area. Joe is from Staten Island, New York. Kim says, love this, so true, priming the mind with gratitude. Jay says, is there a benefit to journaling that you would get as opposed to just speaking out your gratitude out loud? Good question. I
think so. I absolutely think it's a powerful connection between your mind and your hand. Mm-hmm. Now, I actually journal on my computer because I can type faster than I can write, but it's a connection from the thought and then out through your hand, whatever you're doing that allows the flow to continue at a better pace. It's like when you write out your goals,
Yes.
you write out your goals so you can focus on, you can't keep them in your mind. You have to get it out of your body, get the energy out of your body. So I do think there's a benefit. I think
Yeah.
it's stronger.
Good. I love it. Joe says, needed the reminder to write it out. And Tracy from Italy says, ciao. Now we're getting close to the end of this interview. I wanted to see what are some other things? Do we have 2 more points, or is it 1 more point that you wanted to cover?
Well, I always have to talk a little bit about forgiveness.
Yes.
Absolutely changed every aspect of my life and has allowed me to see opportunities and possibilities in front of me like never before. You know, all of these things that trigger us are really just, energy in our body, and releasing that energy from forgiveness, releasing the energy around something that hurt you. A lot of the things that keep coming back and back to us again and again throughout our life happened a long time ago. You're saying this group is over 40. It could have been 20, 30 years ago, and you're still thinking about it. You're still thinking about it. You're allowing it to create anger or bitterness or whatever it is, or a limiting belief that, they said that this is who I am and now I've become that person. So once you release that energy around the memory, through forgiveness. And I like to share the practice. If you're not familiar with the Ho'oponopono prayer, that's what I use. There's many different ways to say it. For me, it's just, please forgive me. You can say it out into the universe. You can write it on your paper. Please forgive me. And then you say, I'm sorry. And the reason you say, I'm sorry, even if you don't believe it was your fault, is because energetically, you may have put yourself in a place to be hurt. So you release the other person and say, I forgive you. You release yourself from where you may have put yourself. You say, I'm sorry. You say, thank you to the universe for giving you this lesson, for redirecting you, for the feedback, however you want to look at it. And last is always a hard one for people, is you add love to the situation. So I always have the question, well, I don't love that person, then adding love is the strongest, most powerful emotion in the universe. And anything you add love to flows. So if you can't say, I love you, just say, I love my higher power, or I love me, or just say the word love, and allow those energies around whatever the situation is to flow through you. So the memory just becomes something that happened once versus something that happened once that triggers emotions. It takes you away from your day. So it's a life-changing practice. If you haven't heard it before, it sounds a little crazy. The amount of anger and resentment I lived through for years, I think people thought I would never get through. Still expect to hear some of that out of my mouth, or from, just my thoughts, how I, hold myself, and it's completely gone. And it's important to say that it often takes more than one time. And that's where trust and awareness comes in. So if I trust that whatever's coming into my mind, if it's triggering something, even if I've released it before, it's time for me to release it again. And like Cheryl, I love to end with this, is that I'm to the point in my life, I'm well into my 50s. I've had a really hard time for many years. And now I am so in love with my life. So I make sure that I do every day whatever it takes to release what I need to release, to stay open so I can take advantage of the opportunities and the relationships, heal relationships, important relationships, family relationships, friends, whatever it is. I do what it takes every day, even when I don't want to, because I know what the alternative is. And I know how it feels when you're free, when you're fully authentic real and you, and going through life like that is so much better.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. And the irony is, you and I, it's almost like we've had identical stories. And that it's just, I just love having you in here. And it was very hard for me to forgive the situations that had happened in my life. And then when I did, the world opened up to me and I became so um, motivated, inspired. I felt like I've got my life, I got my light back, my voice back. So the reason why I'm saying this right now to our viewers, it's not just Debra that found her light and found her voice and said forgiveness and showed love. I did it too. And it's, you know, when we get over 40, when we get over 50, those are the times you got to let go of those grudges, because man, there's so many wonderful things to experience in life if we can just let go of those memories from the past. And you can do it through journaling, forgiveness, releasing all those emotions. Yeah, great talk, Debbie. Love this, love it. Christina says hello, and she says, so true, working on journaling, getting better. All right, Jay says, thank you very much, Debra. So for those of you who are watching, please let us know again, if you're watching live or on replay, let us know a takeaway, something you've really enjoyed from this talk today. And I'd like to share my screen and show you how you can get in touch with Debra. All right. So I'm going to hide, Debra, if you can hide yourself one moment. Actually, leave yourself up, Debra. That way we'll just get right to it. Oops, let me go back one. Okay, so thank you so much, Debra, for being here today. We really appreciate you. And right here at the bottom, everyone, you can find out more about Debra by going to debraleemay.com. And also, I'm building a list that keeps growing with each week and each guest. So if ever you all who are watching this, you forget the address, the website, you can go to cherylbroughton.com/guests, and you're going to see what each guest is offering you, and you can get in touch with them. You'll be able to get connected to their website. And also, I'd like to say a big thanks to all of you who have been picking up my book. And you can get a copy of my book on Amazon, search for yourepicencore.com, or go to cherylbroughton.com. So thank you again, Debra, for being here. And thank you, everyone who is watching today. I know a lot of people got a lot of great value from this. Are there any closing words you'd like to share with us?
Life is short. Make the most of it, open the space, let it go. It's not worth it. The relationships in your life are so important, and it feels so good to reconnect with people. I feel like life is all about reinventing and becoming that next level you. We're all evolving and moving in, and that starts from reclaiming who you are at your core, your most powerful self. And then you can just reimagine everything that you ever thought was possible. I'm so thrilled to have been here today. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So everyone go check out her website, and she can really help you. And she's free to answer any of your calls. Oh, actually, Joe says, life is truly short. Time is flying by. And it's good to remember to enjoy the time we have and be grateful for all the blessings in life. So true.
Love that.
So
Thank
true.
you, Joe.
Thank you. And to everyone watching, don't you ever forget this right here. It's never too late to have your epic encore. I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, Debra. Thank you.